Hello, welcome to this very quick MySID guide to the financial monitoring section of the system. We know this has caused some confusion in terms of some of the language that's being used within the section, and some confusion about what gets entered in what spaces. So what I'll do is I'll take you through the sheet now, give a worked example, and then hopefully things will be clearer for you. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of myself from the screen a second. Okay, so in the financial monitoring section, you'll be aware now that the top section now has the grants down the left-hand side. We have the planned spend in this box in the top left, and in terms of planned spend, what we mean is the total allocation of the grant that's been provided by Welsh Government in the case of EIG and PDG, and the other budgets that have been added by yourselves throughout the year in terms of activities that you want to plan. In terms of the planned spend, then, this is the amount of money that your school activity plan says that you're going to spend against these grants, and the unplanned spend is what's yet to be allocated through your activity plan. So that's simply just in the planning. In terms of the expenditure, then, how this works is the actual expenditure is how much you've accounted for already in the section underneath where you start adding in your invoices, which is the section down here. Okay, the committed expenditure is what you've indicated that you're going to commit to complete those activities, and I'll show an example of that shortly. And then the grant remaining is what's left to be spent after your actual and committed expenditure has been accounted for. Okay, so if I go down the screen now, what you'll notice is I've clicked on the filter here so I can just see the EIG part of the grant, which makes it simpler for me to have a look at the invoices I want to select. So in this first example, what we're going to look at is this activity. So it's unique ID 6634, which was a purchase of jumpstart material to support planning for rotation activities, lesson starters and plenaries. So you'll be aware that when you want to go in and add an invoice, what you need to do is click on the little pencil icon. That'll open up the screen. Let's say I've had an invoice through for some resources. Put the invoice number in here, and any financial code then that's being matched to in terms of the expenditure, or a pay number if that's appropriate. The expenditure type then, so this is going to be resources other, and then the actual figure, the actual amount that I'm going to commit to this particular that this invoice is actually worth. So that's £150, for example, for this one. Now, obviously, that's £150 of the 500, which was my planned cost. There will be other costs that come in. At this stage, it says that I've currently committed £0 to this activity. You can leave it at 0 if you like, until the point at which you've allocated all of the remaining money to make up the £500, when the real committed value then is back down to 0. But actually what the committed means in this instance is what remains from the £500 that I started with is £350. So whilst I've actually spent £150 here, I'm still committing another £350 to make up the £500 over here, and once the other invoices come in, this number will actually go down. So in this example, if I click on done, we can see how that works. What I can now do is, another invoice has come in for this particular activity. I'm going to add an extra line in here. I'll put my invoice number in and the financial code against which this is going to be charged. I'll then pick an expenditure type. So this, for example, this might now be another resources other. And if this is then the remaining balance, which is £350, my committed, there's no further money that's going to be committed to this activity, so that now goes down to 0. When I click on done, what I've now got is an actual spend of £500 against a planned cost of £500, and nothing left that's committed to this particular budget. If I now go up to the top of the page here, we can see that the actual expenditure is £500 and the grant remaining is 1,308, which is the 1,808 minus the £500 here, which means the remaining grant here is £1,308. I hope that example made sense. I hope that that makes the difference between what we're talking about in terms of actual and committed a bit clearer for you. But obviously, if you've got any questions, please drop us a line, business support, or email me directly.